Let's talk about a moment that really changed the game in the world of data. A moment where we stopped asking people to manage databases and started asking databases to manage themselves. We're talking about Oracle 18c and how it kicked off the whole era of the autonomous database. So let's set the scene. The year's 2018. Data is just everywhere. It's not just growing, it's exploding. And companies are seriously struggling to keep up. The cloud is helping, for sure, but it also brings its own set of complexities. It's right in the middle of all this that Oracle comes out with something pretty radical. For decades, running a database was this incredibly intense, hands-on job. You had whole teams of experts just dedicated to tuning, patching, and basically babysitting these critical systems 24/7. But Oracle started asking a really wild question. What if the database could just do all of that on its own? What if it could be its own DBA? And their answer to that question was Oracle 18c. Now, this wasn't just another version with a few new bells and whistles. Oh no, this was the start of something completely new. Oracle basically introduced the world to the idea of a self-driving database. The whole pitch was to let the database handle the grunt work so your experts could finally focus on the important stuff, innovation, instead of just keeping the lights on.
So what in the world is an autonomous database? Well, think of it like this. It's a database with a brain. It uses machine learning to handle all the tedious routine stuff by itself. We're talking about optimizing its own performance, patching itself against security threats, handling its own backups, all those things that used to cause so many headaches, now automated. No human required.
And this whole self-driving idea really breaks down into 4 key powers. First, you've got self-tuning, where the database is constantly tweaking itself for the best possible performance. Then there's self-patching, which is huge. It can apply security updates on the fly with zero downtime. Self-securing means it's actively defending itself from threats. And maybe the coolest one, self-repairing, where it can actually predict and prevent hardware failures before they even happen. I mean, this was a massive leap forward for how reliable and secure a database could be. But believe it or not, the autonomous stuff was really just part of the story. The world was getting smaller, businesses were global, and they needed databases that could operate on that massive scale. Oracle 18c had some really clever answers for that too. A huge piece of this was a concept called sharding. See, the old way was you had one giant server holding all your data. If that server got overloaded, well, your whole system would just grind to a halt. Sharding completely flips that script. It slices up the data and spreads it out across a bunch of smaller, independent databases. So if you're a global company, you can literally keep your European data on servers in Europe and your Asian data in Asia, but it all still acts like one single database. For performance and scalability, this was an absolute game changer. And they didn't forget about the developers. They got this powerful new tool called polymorphic table functions. Okay, that sounds super technical, but in a nutshell, it let developers write one single generic piece of code that could work with all sorts of different data layouts. This made building complex analytics queries way faster, and the code itself was a lot easier to reuse. It just made developers' lives so much easier. So when you put it all together, you can really see the impact. These weren't just random features. The whole autonomous database concept was about getting rid of costly human error. Sharding was the key that unlocked truly massive global scale. And those polymorphic functions, that was all about giving developers the speed and flexibility they needed. And all of this together created a legacy that we're still feeling today. With 18c, Oracle wasn't just keeping up with the demands of the modern world, it was fundamentally redefining what a database is and what it could do. This quote just says it all, doesn't it? The database went from being a passive box that just stored data to being this active, intelligent system. It could drive itself, protect itself, and even heal itself. That's a profound shift in thinking. We talk a lot about self-driving cars changing transportation. Well, the self-driving database is doing the same thing for IT. And Oracle 18c, that was the moment the starting gun fired. It set a brand new standard for what we should all expect from our data systems. And that leaves us with a really interesting question to chew on. By automating all the tedious, frustrating parts of data management, we've basically freed up some of the smartest people in tech to go solve bigger, more creative problems. So with the machines taking the wheel on this, you have to wonder, what's the next great thing we'll build?